Caller from the 905 area code. You are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes. What's your name?
Hey, Mark. This is Lucas from Canada.
Lucas.
Well, Ontario, Canada.
Welcome.
Yep. Thanks. And I asked two people this social experiment.
Okay.
And they both know about the New World Order and the control system that's around us. And the first individual that I asked about the first word that came to mind when you say no rulers,
Yes.
he said freedom.
Okay.
And the second one, anarchy, was chaos.
Right. So
Now,
he's still in that internal state of contradiction because he does not know the true meaning of the word anarchy. So did you reveal the meaning of the word through the etymology to him?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
What was his response?
He says that's like basically the contrary of what everyone in society thinks, like anyone who he basically came into contact with.
Because that's a mind control technique through the obfuscation of the real definition of a word. Did he accept that that's what the word anarchy really does mean? No rulers, no masters?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It shows you that this contradiction exists even in people that are already aware that they're living in a control system because they don't understand how powerful the obfuscation of definitions are, how powerful that is as a mind control technique.
And the second individual that I decided to ask was in Toronto, Ontario, he's like a pretty I guess respected alternative media journalist or a whistleblower, I guess you can call him. And I asked him first, what's the first word that comes to mind with no masters? And he said bullshit. He said any group dynamic works like that, and there's always going to be someone who ends up on the top.
Yeah, he's creating hell along with many other people. Doesn't realize it, but that mindset is the generator of hell. You could let him know I said that too. That very mindset is what generates a prison. And that's where we're at. Enjoy. That's what I would tell somebody like that. Your mindset, and because more people like you have that same mindset, that's why we're living in a cage. Thanks. That's what I would tell them.
Right.
Unbelievable.
And the second one, when I asked him about anarchy, he also said bullshit. He said no such thing can exist. You might as well be talking about dragons, fairies, and unicorns. It's a nice theory.
You know when it'll exist? I'm going to tell you when it's going to exist. When there's no more people like that person in the world, then it will exist. Chew on that. Let him chew on that. That's exactly when it will exist. And that state is going to exist. It's going to happen. Nothing can hold it back from happening. Do you want to know why? And you could tell him I said this. Because that's God's will. That's what God's will is that true anarchy come into being in the physical domain. As a matter of fact, it already is in existence, and it was put there by the Creator. The thing is, it's the will of creation that humanity goes back to living in that natural state. And this little peon actually believes him and other idiots like him can thwart the will of God. He believes that. He believes his ego is stronger than all of creation combined. He's going to find out how wrong he is. He may live to find out how wrong he is. I'd like you to tell him that I said that I told him that. Because again, with somebody like this, you're never going to convince them or get them to see the truth. They just need to hear, you will be here to see how wrong you are. Your consciousness will exist to find out the depth of your wrongfulness, the depth of your transgression against right, and the depth of your illusion, Your consciousness will be here to find that out. You will know it, whether it's in this lifetime, this reality, this incarnation, or another. You will be experiencing the truth that your ego is not more powerful than the will of creation. So good luck with that, man. I mean, again, he's a perfect slave. Let me tell you what he is. The occultists, the dark occultists I work with have a name for him. They have a name for him. Like I told people, they call people the dead. That's their name for the general, totally asleep member of the population. Just as in general, they call the population the dead. Okay? Mm-hmm. They have a specific name for somebody like that who is so totally wrapped up in the aggression ideology, and that it must always be like that, and that there must always be masters and slaves, and that anarchy is impossible to achieve. Okay, they have a name for him because that is the end result of the perfection of their mind control techniques, and the name for him that Satanists, dark Luciferians, dark occultists call that individual is the new man. That's their name for him. They have a special term. They call this individual the new man. It is their creation. They have made something that the creator didn't make. They made it as the gods of this planet. They made this ball of sewage that they fashion into a golem, okay, and imbue it with thoughts that aren't its own, and tell it what is and what isn't, and it accepts like a computer program, this golem creature, this complete ball of sewage that they've molded like clay. And that's what he is. He's the new man, according to the dark occult. That's a term. Understand that term. That's essentially what it is. You can do research on it too. Other people have brought this out. I've directly, enacted with people who have used that term as Satanists, telling people we are making the new man. He is being made as we speak in society. That is what they call him. He is their new man because they made him. For all intents and purposes, that's what the powers of a god, small g, are. You can make someone in your image and likeness, and they've made him in their image and likeness at a much, much lower and less powerful level. But his mindset is the baby-fied version, the little miniaturized version of their mindset. And they made him, and they call him their new man. And that's what he is. Sad.
All right. I'll be sure to tell him.
Sure. Please do.
And I asked him, well, do you mind if I expand on this a little bit more?
Sure.
Okay. I asked him, what is the reasons why you feel anarchy would not work? And he said, basically, how would everyone get along when there's no one, basically telling people what to do?
Because he has no imagination.
How would megastructures be built?
No imagination as to how human beings could accomplish anything. No. Masters have to tell us everything that we need to do in life. Yeah. Yep. You want to know the real reason? That's the reason he told you. But let me tell you this, and you can tell him this or let him listen to this show. Okay? Mm-hmm. The real reason he does not believe, quote unquote, or accept that this could be. Here's the real psychological underlying reason. The real reason is because he hates himself. That's the real reason. He looks at himself as a slave, and in his own subconscious, he feels slavery is all he is worthy of, and therefore so must everyone else live in that condition. Ultimately, self-loathing is the reason why anyone thinks that way. He hates himself. And you can tell him I said so, or let him listen to this show.
Okay. And just want to touch one other point here. I got into a bit of an argument or a debate with someone who is a facilitator in one of the Occupy Toronto movements.
Okay.
And I got into an argument with him about he was trying to advocate more gun registration,
of
or like
course.
more gun restrictions.
Because most of these people are leftists, and they have socialist leanings and think that the state should be in control of everything, and it's a very hairy field of endeavor when you're dealing with the occupiers. Some of them get it, very few and far in between. Most of them are very ignorant and lack knowledge and don't really have a long view of history. It's a shame. They really not studied in history very much at all. And they don't understand what historically happens when guns are confiscated in any given vicinity. You're creating victim disarmament, and then a government can run roughshod all over the people. And it happens over and over and over and over again, and there's thousands of historical accounts for it, and yet these people just turn a blind eye because they want to believe they can do what they want.
It was actually when I posted the video of Innocence Betrayed that he commented on.
And he probably didn't even watch it. He probably didn't even watch it. How are you going to even debate that? This happened to the Armenians, to the Russians, to the German people. How are you going to even debate this in Rwanda, in Cambodia, in Chile? Everywhere where gun control has ever been passed has been followed by a genocide. Historically, everyone. And yet these people are still going to argue that the world is some way magically that they think it is when it is not that way.
And here's a couple of points.
It's a child. This person's a child who has no long view of history. He's stupid. And that's all I'm telling. I don't have patience for this. That's all I tell people. You're dumb. You're unread. You're dumb. You're unread. You're an unread person. You have no long view of history. You don't read enough books. Go read more books. That's what I tell people like that. I don't even waste my breath arguing with them. They're a dumb person. A dumb person's not capable of creating any change. He thinks he's going to go and change the world as a part of the Occupy movement. He doesn't understand something like that. Retarded. Slowed down. Because he doesn't read enough.
And some of the justifications that he was trying to use were some points that you actually talked about in some of your previous shows. So first I said, no one has the right to disarm someone's last means of defense, for self-protection, right? Because that's an inherent birthright.
Right.
And he says you mix up, you confuse instincts with rights.
No.
He's basically saying
what he doesn't understand is what property is, and he is an advocate of theft of property. He believes also that certain people have special rights. And I tell people, please explain to me how anyone gets a right that I don't have. If this person over here can carry and wield that weapon and own it, how can I not? And no one can explain this mechanism to me. Maybe someone will enlighten me in the future. How can a right be born into existence that someone else doesn't have? Either every single individual has the right or no one has it. And they're all the same. There's no special rights for special individuals. Every single person has the same exact rights. And he doesn't get that. He doesn't understand that because he's an advocate of theft. And that's all he is, a simple advocate of theft. He's condoning violence, and he doesn't get it. That gun control is gun violence. It's people coming with guns saying, give me your guns.
He says he's a pacifist. That's what he said. He's
another sickening, deplorable ideology that if anybody is I don't even want to hear from pacifists. I mean, if you, that, again, this is more self-loathing. If you hate yourself so much that you would say, I'd rather be killed than defend myself with force, I don't even know what you are. You're not a human being. You're some kind of a degraded animal. I mean, imagine this ideology, this sick, twisted ideology of self-loathing called pacifism. You have to be joking. You're going to sit there and take violence conducted to you? What are you going to try to do? Curl up into a ball? You're going to run away like a little boy? Please, grow up and grow a pair. That's all I would say to him. He doesn't care about himself or his rights or anybody else's rights. There's no self-love. It's all self-loathing. Well, thanks for the call. Great points that you brought up. I'm going to take one more caller before we end the show. Here we go.